Hello. I decided to make a video. I don't know. Just felt like talking to a camera. Been having a pretty hard week for the last week or so. But hopefully I'll be back on my feet soon. But one thing that I've been focusing on is my health still. And I kind of just want to talk about it because yeah, so I'm at a pretty happy weight that I want to be in terms of my overall weight, but I'm not 100% happy with how I am physically just yet. I just need some extra um, work to be done. The number's fine, but the actual look is the next step. So we move on to body recomposition. I feel like that's pretty hard. It's just hard because you gotta, make sure that you keep a decently balanced diet. Eat a certain amount, eat enough, but don't eat too much. You gotta hit your proteins. You gotta be working out. You gotta be, you know, doing all the stuff that you should be doing. And I listed out like that, and it sounds hard. It's actually not that bad. You get into a groove and you start, it just becomes muscle memory. It becomes what you want to naturally do. I think the major issue at this point for me, that's because it feels still new, is actually just working out. I've done it here and there, and I've gotten into a groove in the past, and I want to get that same feeling back. The crazy thing to me is that it's not even something that I really feel is that hard to do, but it is like a bit harder to do just because like it's the anticipation of doing it. The like that's a task I need to do at some point. I think a lot of people have that issue in terms of issues they don't have to actively that need their attention at this moment. It's not like a high priority. It's like there's less incentive, whether that be for their own self or their like something that could be like better off if it's just handled now. It's just harder to be that proactive person. Um, and I struggle with that a little bit. I think I'm pretty good about doing that with most things. There are definitely things that I do put off. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I once I start, and I think this is true for most people. Once you start and you tell yourself, I'm going to just try to do at least this much, you'll want to see it through. It's just the hardest part is actually starting, setting time aside and doing this task. So for me, I'm struggling with doing this, but if I actually just sat down and started doing it, if for something like working out, I think I would see it all the way through in that moment because I don't want to leave anything half finished. I like to close that chapter and be like, the task is done. So that's been hard to deal with in terms of balancing everything. But, I do like everything that comes with it. Like, I like feeling good about the fact that I did it and seeing changes happen. And just overall, like with something like this, like I feel healthier and happier and I have more energy and it's nice. It's just like an investment in yourself. A lot of these like investments that aren't, a carrot on a stick. It's not immediately like within your grasp. It's hard for people to get into that. I think a lot of people struggle with most things like that take a lot of commitment, or take a high amount of patience and investment of whether it's your time or your money or whatever. It's really hard. But you do, because I think it's also a double-edged sword for some people. You might put yourself out there, and then you don't really get the returns that you wanted, and it's just like, oh well, I put all this time into it, and for what? So I just wanted to kind of talk about that. That I think that working on something specifically with body recomposition, something like that, I actually almost find that harder. Um, I think that you don't need to do it in the way I did, where I slimmed down in order to bulk up. I think the ideal situation is that if you were looking to lose weight, you'd be working out too. That way, you not only maintain your muscle, but you also um, lose it without, you lose the parts that you want to lose, like the fat and the things that you want to look slimmer when you're a bit more overweight. So that's been something that I've realized is I think I can restrict myself more, because to me that's not as hard actually. I think for a lot of people that might even be harder, because um, for me, I can restrict myself in one category and let myself, do something else that I'm familiar with, that is familiar to me. So when I was doing something like dieting, I initially felt like it was a bit of a shock just from not really doing it before. But soon after, I didn't find it too hard, because if I don't know, had a craving or whatever, I was just like, oh, well, I'll just do something else that I enjoy. And, that would be enough to escape that temptation, I guess. Um, but now we're actually actively reaching out and saying, here is something new that I need to incorporate in my life. So this is why I think it's also hard to go into new ventures, and a lot of people get really dormant in a lot of aspects of life. A lot of people have a career that they're not really happy with, but they're like, I don't really even know where to start. It's too new to them. Or they try, they got, I don't know, their relationship status, whether they're single or taken. They're so used to it that they're just like, this is just how life is. I don't really know a way out. And it's too out there to try to do different things. Um, this is why, yeah, diets are hard, because they've gotten used to how they are. They might, in all these situations, they might not be happy, but that doesn't make it any easier to do it, because you might even know what you have to do, but it's so foreign to your day to day life, and it takes so many baby steps that it's hard to actually get yourself to actively do it. So, yeah, I I get it to a point when it's that new venture, because you could even say something like dieting is a new venture in terms of having that restriction. Um, you know, I think a lot of people can relate on anything in terms of like trying to veer away from a certain, I don't know, activity or hobby that they've maybe delved too much time into, or trying to put more time into a hobby that they already enjoy, but maybe they just wanted to put more time into it and they're not used to putting that much time into it. It can happen at all different levels. This was just special to me because while I have done it here and there, I haven't actively done it long term. When I say long term, I mean like consecutively for many months. I think at most I've done it. I'll say like maybe a couple months. Um, in terms of specifically like weightlifting, I've done workouts here and there with just like simple stuff, cardio and your sit ups, push ups, planks, all that stuff. Um, I'm actually curious how much that actually affected, because I do think that I did do better overall. Um, in terms of progress, but at some point I was plateauing. I don't know if it was because of my weight or because I was doing something wrong or whatever. I'm sure it was probably a combination of multiple things, but I don't know. But comparing where I was to where I am now, I am very happy with the progress I've made. And I'm not at the goalpost yet. And I do recognize that this is almost like a moving a goalpost situation of I hit one goal and it's not enough. To a point, I get that. I just always had this specific vision of what I look like in my head, and I get at some point it's marginal returns, because you're going to be seeing a lot of difference early on, because not only is it easier, because there's less restrictions, but also it's just a full lifestyle change versus adapting little things in your lifestyle. I do think there is a point where I will be more happy, and maybe I'd still work on little things here and there, but in terms of major changes in terms of what I want to do, I do think I'll find a groove at some point. The reason I say that with some confidence is that from where I am, I can already see that there is progress in things that I want to stay in my life that I've introduced. And, this is a little bit of a side point, but a lot of people I think are off put by the idea of doing it because they think that it's a boring lifestyle that they want no part in, that wouldn't contain any happiness or whatever. Even if something like food is a source of happiness, which is a tricky subject, I will say, but you just need to have some self-control and some good measurement of how much you should allot yourself with a lot of things. I think plenty of people like doing things like going out and drinking alcohol with friends. That's totally fine. I think if you're drinking every day, a lot, that can be where it gets out of hand. And some people they don't start that way, but they end up that way. But a lot of people can just do that, and that's fun, and that's fine. But not everyone. Everyone has their own battles. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that out loud. I'm curious where I'll end up being if I'm going to stick with it. I really want to believe in myself that I will. I've done so much. I've been, like I said, I was in kind of a hard place this last week, but this is something that I still really want. So we'll see. I feel like I'm even close to my goal, which is adding further encouragement. I don't want to run to the finish line and then fall at the end. And I know I just said about moving the goalpost, but in terms of seeing this milestone of where I want to be, it's within reach. It almost feels like, it doesn't feel beyond reach. It just feels like I just need to be a little more patient, a little more effort, and I can do it. So I can't wait until that potentially happens. And I'm still discovering new aspects and learning about new things and still being happy about all the progress I've made. And it's brought on new things that I've really appreciated. So kind of just wanted to share that. I really want to get where I want to be. So we'll see. I feel like there was something else that I wanted to say regarding this subject. I talked for a while, and I apologize if it comes off rambling. If it's important enough, I'll make its own video. But yeah, I just want to say it can get easier. It just needs to take some time. Since I felt it, I know that maybe this can even be the case for this. So just want to say stay strong, and yeah, we'll see where things end up, and go from there. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate everyone that does, and I hope you take care.